Hello, everyone. Welcome to Metaverse Fashion Week. Welcome to Boson Forum. And welcome to this panel, which is going to focus on metaverse commerce and specifically on the theme of shopping in a Web3 world. I'm Rhian Lewis. I'm Developer Relations Advocate at Boson Protocol, and I'm delighted to have with me today some very senior people from three of the amazing brands we have in Boson Portal Fashion District. And obviously, this is my chance to say, if you haven't visited our fashion district in Decentraland, please go there now before we sell out and check out some of the amazing stores and products that we have on offer. And also a reminder, if you're watching this on Lemonade, you can also watch this live in our event space in Decentraland. The link will be in chat, so please do go there. So I have with me today Valérie Dassier, who is Vice President of IKKS, Oppel, the co-founder of Cider, and Rob Kalinkin, co-founder and creative director of The Rebels. And this panel lineup is particularly stellar. So who better to complete it than Véronique Hyland, who is Fashion Features Director of LUS, and the one and only Kadine James making a return to Boson Forum. Kadine is, of course, creative technologist, metaverse architect, and founder of the Immersive Kind Collective. Welcome to all of you. I'm not going to say any more about you and your brands, but perhaps you could each introduce yourselves and say a few words when I ask you your first questions. So I'm going to go to you first, Kadine, because you're just amazing at contextualizing these things. First question, after you've introduced yourself, what is Web3 and why is it so important for the metaverse? And what can you do with this combination of Web3 and metaverse technologies that you can't do with e-commerce?
I'm absolutely delighted to be here today in such great company and love the work of Boson. It's a real honour to be part of this amazing panel full of such brilliant speakers and creators. So I'm Kadine James and I'm the creative technologist at Yahoo Creative Studios. Yahoo is a creative production studio. We're also reaching a global media audience of up to 900 million people around the world. We bring them closer to the content that they love through immersive production. We do a lot of projects using virtual reality, augmented reality, and XR. We specialize in broadcasting and supercharging content for brands. On top of that, I'm also the founder of the Immersive Kind, which is a crypto art and digital fashion house. I'm actually exhibiting at the Wearable pop-up store, so do go and have a look at the collection that we've created. And just to your point in terms of what opportunities Web3 it means for the future of brands, I think Web3 is an amazing opportunity for brands to connect directly with their customers, to create exclusive experiences and products in ways that not so long ago would have been completely unimaginable. And based on this opportunity to connect with their community and belonging rather than, these transactional shopping experiences on a faceless e-commerce platform. So I think Web3 provides an experience that is truly immersive, like here in Decentraland and inside the Boson space, where you don't have to leave the economy of the metaverse that you're in to interact. You can use these new tools that are administered here at Boson to really reimagine how we interact with e-commerce and Web3. I think the infrastructure layers like Boson Protocol provide a seamless architecture that allow for a decentralized transfer of physical goods and services. And I think that's going to open up a whole new opportunity for the future of fashion and the future of brands. I think it's an incredibly exciting time, and congratulations to the Boson team for building out this incredible world.
Thank you. Well, we're obviously really excited about it. And you brought up the whole digital physical interface. We're probably not going to touch on that so much today. It's a shame because I'd really like to grill you on that and your thoughts about that, because we have another panel specifically about this topic. But it's certainly a theme that is running through our whole approach to Metaverse Fashion Week. So zoning in specifically on a particular brand. Valérie, welcome. We're obviously so happy to have IKKS in Boson Portal Fashion District. And the open metaverse connected by Boson Protocol is enabling this entirely new wave of sales channels and new opportunities for retailers. Could you please tell us about some of the new opportunities you see in this space, after you've introduced yourself, of course?
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to join this conference. I need to tell you that finally it's the first time that IKKS will be in the metaverse, and I can say that it's the first time forever, because it's always the first time, you know. So IKKS is a French premium fashion brand, which is created around one notion, which is created by free spirits for the free spirits worldwide. So what I mean is, when you speak about free spirits, you need to be the first on the metaverse, and we will be the first French brand today on the metaverse with Boson Protocol. So we are very proud about it. To answer your question, I need just to say that for me, it's the first time in the humanity, while technology will drop all the barriers down between imagination and reality. And for a retailer, when you drop on, when you avoid all these barriers, in fact, you can do everything you want, which is not the case in the real world. So there's so many imagination that we are not able to do on the product in the real life that can be done in the metaverse, that it's very interesting for a retailer. So in terms of innovation, it's clearly a new Eldorado for retail. And the first reason is that we're gonna connect the brand with a new target that we don't know. So our customer in the real life are not the one that mostly are on the metaverse right now. So these cool kids on the metaverse, we will be able to connect with this new target that we don't know so much, especially for brands like us, where finally the average age of our customer are around 30 to 40 years old. It's clearly a way to be cool and to connect this new generation and new target of customers, so increase the volume of customer for the brand. The second interesting point is that clearly we will be able to have a new distribution channel. So we were used to work on stores, real stores in the real life, in the real streets. And then in terms of e-commerce, Web 2.0, which was very difficult already to make this omni-channel approach. Now there's this new channel that is arriving, and there is really a big option to develop the business. The first thing is that it will be also for a brand like me, fashion brand, to sell products before I have produced them. So with the NFT, I don't have anymore the delay between the creation and then the production of the product, sometimes around 12 months to be able to have the product in hand. I would be able, with the NFT, finally, as soon as the product is finalized in terms of creation, I do a 3D product, and with the NFT, I can sell it very quickly. So in terms of be able to test product and have very, very soon feedback about the creation of and the styling of our products, it will be also something very important. So, and at least to finalize, experience is the new product, in fact, in the metaverse. We have to think about not selling products anymore, but selling some like new experience. What is IKKS stands for, and what is the experience in the metaverse? And then for sure, customer will be so pleased to wear our products to enter this experience thanks to the NFT. So it changed a lot our retail world, and clearly it's a new Eldorado, and I'm so happy to discover this world and to speak about it today with you.
Valérie, that's amazing. I appreciate your real passion and enthusiasm for this new world that we're entering. It really comes across. And you made some really interesting points about digital fashion and its advantages in many cases over physical fashion. That kind of takes us nicely to Rob. Rob, do you want to introduce yourself? And then I wondered, you describe Rebels as your access pass into the future of digital fashion. And you have this really strong message about freedom of expression in this context. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that and why Web3 plays such an important part in your vision.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure to be on the panel amongst so many great people, and some of them I admired for a long time, but I've never had a chance to talk or meet. So it's my pleasure to be here. My name is Robert, and I'm a co-founder and creative director at the Rebels by House Kalinkin. In case you haven't heard about us, we're an NFT project with the mission to actually help people and artists around the world, the ones like I was 15 years ago when I started fashion business in real life, but just with maybe less possibilities or less privileged situations. We're actually here to address the metaverse. By saying that, it's a bold statement, I do understand it, but we're new here to this space, and aren't we all? Actually, it's totally new for everyone. So at this stage, we fought for our freedom of right as an artist, for my freedom of right in my entire country of Lithuania, to have the right of expression, artistic expression, of using different kind of elements of art and art in art. And that haven't been easy. We have been sued by the country for using some religious symbolics, and we have been dragged to courts all around the country, and eventually won it in the European Supreme Court of Human Rights, stating that the artist can actually use different kind of shapes and forms of art, common art, and also even sometimes religious symbolics, which we did use in our commercial, as a right of expression. And that pushed us to create an NFT collection, which actually pushed me to rethink all of my real-life fashion business model, which I have been doing for more than 12 years as a business. We have our stores and retail places and standalone stores selling clothes I design and we produce here with our couture people working for me, doing dresses and gowns and everyday garments. But we got so bored of it because fashion, it's such a vast industry, but at the same time, once you look at it from the perspective of only selling, you lose the creativity model of it. And you start being so thoughtful about how to sell more instead of how to create more, something original. And this space, the Web3 and all of the NFT situation, kind of allowed me to think broader than that, kind of allowed me to understand that there are no limitations, as some of you said. We are in a totally new universe, you might say so, of absolutely no physical laws, no limits to your imagination, and much bigger and broader customer surroundings, people who are interested in getting to know new brands, not only household names. And therefore, we decided that probably we're going to be the first ever brand to fully transit from real life fashion into digital fashion. And that's a big thing and a big promise to make. Probably will take us time to accomplish, maybe 5 up to 10 years. And it's not easy to basically put everything aside what we have been doing and building with my own hands, having no fashion education whatsoever in my early 30s, to kill all of my childhood dream of being a fashion designer as I saw it on the runways and Vogue magazines until it transit. But this space gives us so much more possibilities. And it also, I came to see and understand that the community in the space is very much more supportive than I ever thought it would be. people are actually fighting for your work, for your art. They are really wanting to invest and see how you grow, and they become partners, which is rarely to see in real life situations. Talking about the commercial side of it, of course, it's much more interesting and easier to work with a client and with a customer here because he can try anything out, being whatever. He doesn't have to go to a certain store. He doesn't have to guide sizing or any other kind of regulations. He just can do it from the comfort of his own home whenever he likes it, or maybe he's restricted to it. He can just now gaze around Decentraland, go to my pop-up store, boutique kiosk, or whatever else, maybe shopping mall, take a look around, dye his hair, change clothes, and find something he likes. So I'm not gonna lie, this is new to us as a business. We're here only recently, and we're trying to become better educated in this space, to get to know more people and actually start doing something groundbreaking.
Amazing. Thank you. I think this groundbreaking thing is something that we're all trying to do in our own way with these experiences. I'd like to move to you from Cider. And if you could introduce yourself and say a little bit about your brand. And I'm interested to pick up with you the same question more or less that I asked to Valérie. Obviously, the use of NFTs and these opportunities to provide gamified experiences are a huge leap for retail. How does your presence here at Metaverse Fashion Week fit into your overall strategy for Cider?
Hey, thank you everyone. I'm really honored to be here. This is Oppel from Cider. So we are a Gen Z fashion brand. We started during the pandemic about 1.5 years ago. And now we've amassed about 3 million plus followers, and also are serving customers from more than 100 countries. I'm really excited to, join the whole Metaverse Fashion Week lineup as well. And, it's really fun, that we are going to be able to open our virtual store first before we even have a physical one. So as a global Gen Z brand, I think, meeting our audience where they are is very important for us. And we consider virtual fashion and the metaverse, they are really big cultural moments right now. And for us, we have these everyday statement pieces, and they're inspired by real people, real moments, real moods. A lot of these very rich cultural and social references. Like, for example, you could easily find our 90s inspired back to school collection, or 70s inspired like a very disco focused collection at Cider. So we can having that freedom, trying all these things in the metaverse in a completely different dimension is really exciting for us. And we consider these are really big trend right now, and we love to be part of the conversation. So we've actually seen fans creating Cider fan art before, even more than a year ago, like in Animal Crossing, in The Sims. And this is like a unique opportunity for us to continue to expand the brand identity into different ways. So it's just only fitting that we're here for the virtual fashion as well. And at the same time, excited to make new friends too. I'm curious, how, say, the crypto native audience, perceives our brand, and excited to see their response. And as a fun fact, I actually saw a lot of our pieces already sold out on the Decentraland marketplace before I can even get a piece of it myself. So I guess that's a very promising early signals.
Yeah, well, you're talking about, you're wondering how the crypto natives will receive it. Well, the crypto natives here at Boson were absolutely obsessed with it. We were all swapping pictures of the pink dress. So I think that's probably a signal of how well things are going down. Véronique, I'm so happy to have you here with us, to have some a fashion journalist and writer of your stature here with us today. I'm very much looking forward to hearing your views about shopping in the metaverse. But first of all, we'd love to hear about your book, Dress Code, and how it contextualizes fashion in society. Why is fashion so important to us in the digital world as well as the physical one?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to be in this august company. I'm the fashion features director at American Elle, and I also just came out with a book from HarperCollins called Dress Code: Unlocking Fashion from the New Look to Millennial Pink. And it touches on everything from, the history of it girls, the rise of influencers, the term millennial pink, which I coined, and I kind of write about that in an essay about how that was co-opted by different political movements and ultimately by QAnon. So that's a wild ride of a chapter. But when I was looking at the history of fashion and the present of fashion for this book, I was kind of seeing that, it's something that we've always used in different ways to communicate with other people and to convey status. And as I've been writing more about the metaverse, I've seen that these same properties that apply to fashion in the physical world also apply in the digital world, because people still want to use fashion as a signaling tool, whether that's to find like-minded individuals, a community, or to convey some kind of status or express something about themselves. So for example, there's a chapter in the book about style subcultures, and I look at, the mods, the rockers, the punks, and then all of these style subcultures that we've seen on TikTok, like dark academia. So I feel like this is just an extension of that. Basically, people are finding ways to use fashion as a community to express their beliefs, and that's not something that has really changed with the crossover to digital fashion. But when writing this, I wanted it to be, I think the term mass gets a bad rap, but I did want it to be mass in a good way. I wanted it to talk about the way that fashion intersects with our everyday lives, as opposed to, the industry, the runway, that kind of bubble, that I'm in, that is very interesting. But I think, I really wanted to talk about things like, what is considered professional dress, especially for women, and how has that evolved? And can fashion, liberate us? Does it oppress us? And all of these other things. So as I've been, writing more about the metaverse, I've seen all of these same questions kind of coming up in this space that we've been, talking about for decades, or even in some cases centuries.
That's amazing. And it very much speaks to our findings that people are the same person in the digital world as you are in the physical world. And the fact that you have so closely observed this crossover effect and found that the rules are so similar is really interesting. We'll return to that later. I'll go back to you, Kadine, as somebody who is so deeply embedded in this space, both from a metaverse point of view and as a Web3 native. Where do you think we are on the adoption curve of these technologies? So what are the next trends we're going to see? Maybe you could talk a little bit about the opportunities for gamification, for example, and how the use of programmable tradable NFTs can provide these entirely novel brand experiences that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. And Veronica, I love everything that you're speaking about. I think the book that you've written, I would love to have a copy of, a signed copy. So I think the metaverse is the future for brands that want to stay relevant. And I think fashion, gaming, music, and entertainment inside the metaverse is going to continue to evolve. It's going to be absolutely huge. I think our digital identities are also going to be, a big part of that. Dressing up for, life in cyberspaces, dressing up for gaming environments. I've been dressing my digital body up for many years now, and I've got to work with some incredible designers and work with some of the best, the finest fashion houses that have really been pushing digital fashion forwards. I'm really interested as well in, the 60 or so fashion brands that are actually here at Metaverse Fashion Week that have understood that the metaverse deserves their attention, that have all gathered, here at Metaverse Fashion Week. In addition to that, in the last 18 months here at Yahoo Riot Creative Studios, where I'm based here in London, we've launched an integrated XR studio, specializing in 3D virtual production, including motion capture, mixed reality, virtual broadcasting, and we've also built a volumetric capture stage, and we're using photogrammetry technologies. All of these technologies are allowing fashion brands to supercharge their content and connect with audiences in ways that not so long ago would have been completely unimaginable. It's such an exciting space to be in. We've also hosted a virtual fashion show, The Fabric of Reality. We built an immersive shopping experience with the luxury store Selfridges, who are also at Metaverse Fashion Week, the streetwear designer Charlie Cohen, and the Pokemon Company, which was celebrating 25 years of the Pokemon Company, where you could go into a store, purchase the physical garment, and then dress your avatar in the collection and wear that look in over 300 apps and virtual worlds and gaming environments. I mean, that's unheard of. And I think that really does set a really fantastic example of what's happening in the space and what's set to come. We've also built Electric City at Metaverse Fashion Week. Everybody must go and check out what we've produced with Charlie Cohen. We've reimagined Electric City specifically for Metaverse Fashion Week, and we'll be doing a catwalk show and an after party. It's not to be missed. On top of that, I've also dropped the Ultimate Seduction, which is my contribution to Metaverse Fashion Week with my crypto fashion art house collective, The Immersive Kind. I've joined forces with Eternity Official, and we've created an immersive art and digital couture experience. We're going to drop 4 digital fashion pieces and wearables inside Wearables pop-up store. I suggest go and have a look. I would love for people to go and experience what we've created. I also think that we're on the cusp of a new era with Web3. We've had, 52 years of the internet. What's set to come now with Web3, with blockchain, connecting people, connecting places, this opportunity for gamified experiences, these online spaces where we can gather, dress up, get to wear and rock clothes and hair and makeup in ways that I would never imagine possible. I think this is such an exciting space for the future of fashion, particularly with XR, with gaming, e-commerce and blockchain technologies allowing us to connect. I also think gaming, virtual reality, augmented reality, and all that's set to come with Web3 is really going to reimagine the future of fashion and how we consume it. And I think that creates an amazing opportunity for fashion brands to connect with future audiences and also to engage with new fans, that are going to be expecting these sorts of experiences, supercharged experiences for the metaverse, just like we're experiencing now at Metaverse Fashion Week.
Wow, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? And we're so privileged to be here at the start of it. And yes, do check out the pieces Kadine mentioned. I saw them on your Twitter. They are absolutely stunning. So yes, it's and a reminder to everybody, go to Metaverse Fashion Week in Decentraland if you haven't already, because there's just so much there. So following on from that, Valérie, Kadine's just painted this absolutely incredible picture of the possibilities that are happening now. And I feel that the brands who are here today, not just in this panel, but in our fashion district, in Metaverse Fashion Week in general, are the brands that are really ahead of the curve and can see the potential of these technologies. What do you think might be inhibiting some of the brands who are not quite ready to take the plunge? What are the blockers for them, do you think?
I think there's many reasons. The first one is, I can express it like that, is as you can imagine, I'm not a Web3 native. You can see it. And a lot of the managers in the companies are not Web3 natives, clearly. Some of them were already like not really understanding Web 2.0. So, I mean, they are just entering in the Web 2.0 and we are asking them to jump directly in the Web 3.0. So at least when you are 50 years old, it's quite difficult to understand that word, really. So, and that's the people that are at the head of the companies right now. So the first topic is how these companies will be able to jump in the world where the manager sometimes doesn't understand, who even doesn't know the name of Web 3.0. So I think this is the first reason. And you have also a lack of I don't know how to say that, psychological or philosophic reason, which is, what is that world where people will spend 100% of their time in the unreal world on something like it's not real? Is that good for kids finally? Is that good for the humanity to spend this time so many times in this world? And sometimes we have people that are really critical regarding this evolution of our society. And when you are critical, it's more difficult to jump afterwards in this new world. The third reason, I think, is the business model. What will be the business model for retail in the metaverse? I think we can imagine some ideas right now, but I'm sure that it will be quite different in 2 months and even in 1 year. That's something that we need to create and be very evolutive regarding the technology and the expectation of the customers. So it's not something very clear as we are used to have in the retail. It's something that has to be built with a lot of agility. And the fourth reason is the currency. Clearly, to understand the cryptocurrency for a company to create its first crypto wallet, it's a step, it's a technological step, but it's also legal and also a financial new challenge for companies, because they are not used to work with these new cryptocurrencies, and that's something that needs to be understood. And in addition, crypto is linked to speculation for most of finance people, and it's always something that companies take it very seriously, because it's not that our job to speculate on the market of currency, for instance. And the last topic really is understand the customer needs. When I have my new wonderful store in this fashion week, Metaverse on Decentraland. Okay, what kind of product I will sell in 3 months, in 1 year? I have understood something. I will not take my product in the real life and put it in the metaverse. If I have it in the metaverse, this product needs to have a superpower for the customer. So it's quite interesting in terms of imagination, but it has to be really worked, and it's a new way of understanding styling and production, for instance. So there's so many changes and constraints at the beginning that it's not that easy to jump in this world. And I'm very happy with all this audience that we did it. And the other will be late, and it's better for us.
Yes, absolutely, because it's obviously the infrastructure is improving, and over time we'll see it becoming, these barriers melting away. But for now, it's the companies that are really showing vision that are taking this plunge. And talking of these game changers in technology, I'd like to turn to you. How much of a game changer is this idea of digital to physical? So our co-founder, Justin Bannon, talks about everything we're going to own in the future having a digital shadow, rather like we all have our digital shadow today on social media. Our prized possessions and our garments will all have this digital shadow in future. Is this something you can envisage happening with Cider?
Yeah, so I think it could go both ways. First of all, like, you know, in terms of digital to physical or physical to digital. And I really think, you know, that these like new ways of tying the two sides together is really not about the marketing or PR. It really what matters is that, you know, we always give the audience a good experience and provide value. And I think, you know, with like when we say physical, for example, it doesn't have to just mean physical goods. It could be, you know, like a in real life experience and, you know, like how people love to capture, you know, photos, videos, posting on Instagram and TikTok, you know, at an event. Maybe in the future, they could also collect, you know, an NFT from that event alone, and that could, you know, unlock new experiences, exclusive offers in the future. So I think all these things could, you know, be very, very exciting. And as a brand, we love to, you know, continue to explore new ways of engaging our community in Web2, Web3, and in real life as well.
Yes, that's super interesting because there are so many different things you can do with this idea of NFTs. And in fact, we're going to have a panel tomorrow, I think, or the next one. I can't remember which one it is, but we have a panel about NFTs with superpowers, NFTs providing these experiences and products and services that you've just described. So it's a really interesting topic to scratch the surface of. We are having a few problems with Rob's connection. We'll try to come to him in a minute if he's able to speak. But first, I would like to ask you, Véronique, the metaverse, or rather all the separate metaverses that we see now, are game changers for fashion retail in the same way as some of the things the other speakers have described. As someone who has deeply explored the social and cultural changes in fashion, how important do you think it is for people to be able to buy physical garments directly from the metaverse, as well as digital wearables to wear in the metaverse? And what does that say about the way our digital and physical selves blur the boundaries with each other? We touched on it before when you last spoke. I'd be interested if you could dig a little deeper into that idea.
Yeah, so I was just writing about this because in our March issue, which is out now, I did a story about fashion and the metaverse, where I had seen a lot of stories about what fashion companies are doing from a business perspective, but I was kind of interested in like, what are the larger social implications of this and how can it change the way that we experience fashion? So I basically did a test run where I went to events in the metaverse for Gucci, Ralph Lauren, and also to the Fashion Awards, the British Fashion Awards, and kind of explored the different offerings that they're doing and talked to some of the people behind those projects. But yeah, I was really interested in this way that, you know, even as, like we've talked about, the digital and physical selves are blurring, there's also digital fashion kind of can allow people a safe space to explore their identity. You're able to wear clothing that suits multiple gender identities, you know, and kind of explore your self-expression, or even wear things that you wouldn't necessarily get away with wearing in physical space because people would in some way comment negatively. So it's a really powerful tool for self-actualization and self-expression, especially for young people. And a lot of the statistics that they gave me and the sort of user responses really backed that up. And then, you know, one of the people that I interviewed said that people in their community don't really distinguish anymore between a friend that they made online and a friend that they made in real life, which I thought was interesting. And I think, you know, similarly, we're going to see people taking their digital wardrobes just as seriously as their physical ones. And the boundaries may be blurring between the two, like maybe you want to own identical pieces or complementary pieces in both worlds for both identities, you know, that you're mindful of both of these kind of parts of your self-expression. So as someone who's like just so interested in fashion as a communication tool and a self-expression tool, I find this all really rich and interesting.
Now I want to read your book as well. I think it sounds completely awesome. Rob, I'm hoping your connection will hold up well enough to ask you. I'd like you you touched on the idea of community before and how you felt that the community within this space has been really supportive of you. And this shows that you see digital fashion as being far more than shopping on another platform. It includes this social experience as well. Could you just talk a little bit about the importance of community in your vision?
Well, absolutely. So what I find most amusing about all of this is when we started doing what we do and we started building the community, I was kind of expecting that it's going to be working like in real life situations, when you kind of gain followers and you try to walk around with people and convince them in something. And in real life, doing this in Web3, it actually proved me wrong. It actually proved me that people around here, they are building just as much as you are as a brand.
Rob, sorry, you're breaking up.
Can you hear me right now?
We lost you for the last sentence. Could you just try again, please?
Okay, I'll try to do it more slowly this time. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the whole thing is that community is super supportive because they do understand that that's a growing space, like rapidly growing space, and there's a lot of things yet to be uncovered, built, improved, and made better working. So we do understand that. We all see that the whole Decentraland is still growing space and everything's changing all the time. And therefore, the community is interested in helping you out to reach higher grounds. And that's also a support. And the way the community supports your brand, let's say in our case, the Rebels, people basically, they don't know us and they don't know my story. And I'm just a simple guy, I'm 33 from Lithuania. No one, most of the people, they don't even know where the country is situated. I mean, I can ask you guys, do you know the capital of Lithuania? And I don't know, I'm not sure if you can even answer that. So to try to gain the trust and try to rely on people in community, you have to tell them a story about yourself, and you have to be confident that something you're presenting and something that you're offering to the table is actually worth their time. And in our case, it worked out just like this. People started trusting me and believing that, yeah, we can actually switch from real life fashion to the digital fashion. And we also can offer both physical and digital items. So, oh, wow. That's a party, I say.
Okay.
That was lovely.
Thanks for that, Rob.
That was lovely.
Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
That. So yes, we're going to have a little bit of time for questions, I think, because Valérie has actually answered in a very heroic way a question that was asked directly to her in chat, which we'll do verbally as well in a minute. I'm going to wrap up the main part of the discussion now with a quick fire round of questions to you all. So within a minute or two, I would just ask you to maybe give your impressions of, this is obviously the first time there's been Metaverse Fashion Week in the same way that as we have London Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, whatever. We're presumably going to be sitting here in 5 years and Metaverse Fashion Week will be happening. What will it look like? This is the complete no holds barred imagination quickfire round. So I'll start with you, Kadine.
Yeah, I think it's a great question and one that obviously we think a lot about in terms of the experiences like Pokemon, Charlie Cohen, Selfridges, the fabric of reality, which gives, the opportunity for people to come in to the front row and be on the front row in ways that would never have been possible before. I also think, through the billions of gamers that are out there as well, that are, coming into metaverse spaces and connecting, dressing up their avatars, that's a real that's something that didn't happen before, and I think that this is going to be huge. Obviously, Metaverse Fashion Week is bringing together some of the pioneers and the trailblazers that are really looking to push fashion forwards. I think that this opportunity is going to continue to evolve, and I think that the technology of our time will allow us to reimagine the future of fashion and how we consume it and experience it. I also think that, you know, fashion has always been an opportunity to, you know, extend or become, you know, something other. And I think the metaverse is freeing and allowing us to experience and wear fashion in, you know, in completely new ways. And that in turn is presenting, you know, fashion brands with a whole new layer in terms of ways to reimagine their digital content and their products. You know, we're breaking out of the constraints of traditional manufacturing to be able to build and create fashion purely digitally. And I can wear it through augmented reality. I can wear it through, you know, coming into virtual worlds like Decentraland. And I think that whole new Web3 opportunity is massive, and not only for fashion, but for music, for art, for NFTs, you know, for us to really kind of think about what that means in the metaverse, and also those opportunities for the next generation, you know, of millennials and Gen Z that are expecting these sorts of experiences. You know, I've got multiple avatars, and I've been dressing myself up. I've even put a 3D scan of my head on a pair of couture shoes that, you know, I'm rocking at Metaverse Fashion Week. So I think this is such an exciting space to be in, and I think we should be really embracing platforms like Boson to really kind of imagine the future of e-commerce, blockchain technologies, our digital identities, and owning, you know, your digital fashion and your digital fashion collections through technology and these new tools of our time. I think that the brands that are here at Metaverse Fashion Week are, you know, really on the cusp of this new era of storytelling, of reimagining the future of fashion, and equally ways that digital fashion can leave a lighter footprint on the planet in terms of you know, overconsumption, fast fashion, and the role that fashion can play in terms of sustainability, and reimagining how we can dress ourselves in a lighter and in a more sustainable way, particularly for the planet, and fostering this kind of new ecosystem and new ways to experience fashion in the metaverse and in gaming worlds. I think it's an incredibly exciting time, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of this cultural moment in fashion history. And that's what it is. We're making history today at Metaverse Fashion Week, and it's a real honor to be part of this conversation, pushing fashion forwards into the metaverse and beyond.
Thank you, Kadine. Honestly, that was just perfect. I'd like to turn to you now. Metaverse Fashion Week in 5 years' time.
I think, you know, it's gonna be definitely more interactive. I think it's just overall with the trend of, you know, Web3, I could see a more decentralized future where the traditional fashion week, right, only the most influential people, celebrities, they'll be invited to see it. But I think in the future, you know, it's probably a lot more accessible, and there's probably gonna be, you know, co-creation moments with the audience. So it's not just from the designer or the brand to the audience one way only. I foresee it as more like a, you know, two-way street. And I also think there could be an interesting future where it really just a one metaverse, which means imagine your dress, the Cider dress that you bought in Decentraland could also be, you know, worn in other worlds like Roblox or, you know, the Sandbox. I think those could be very, very interesting. And I don't think we need 5 years for, you know, those things to happen.
I wish this conversation was going on for 2 hours. I really do. Véronique, Metaverse Fashion Week in 5 years' time.
Well, I probably have the least technical expertise of anyone in this group, so this is fully speculative on my part. But like you said, I love the idea of things opening up, being less exclusive. I think technology like live streaming earlier on allowed that, and blogging and all these things that kind of opened Fashion Week up to more people. I think anything that does that is laudatory. And, you know, I also think I could see things being a little bit more immersive and personalized. Like, I think, you know, we've all looked at a model walking a runway and thought, well, you know, they look great, but how would this look on me? And how would it look on my body type? And, you know, so I think maybe being able to personalize the designs either to yourself or even like tailor them, tweak them, you know, participate in the design yourself. I think that could be a really cool I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure people in this group are working on it, but I think that would be a really fun aspect to be able to feel a little bit more connected to what's going down the runway.
Perfect. And we are running out of time for questions now. I'll just ask Valérie and potentially Rob, depending on his sound situation, for a very quick overview of Metaverse Fashion Week, 5 years' time before we go for questions. Valérie?
As I said, it's already difficult to say what will happen in 1 month or in 5 years. Let me dream. I would say I totally agree with Kadine and you. I think it's a word of decentralization and co-creation. So I would say that I would have a fashion show in the moon, and that the model will be not mine, but in fact, the person that will attend the fashion show will be the models, because it's like co-creation. I think we will not be there to look at something. We will clearly participate to the show somewhere that I'm not able to go in the real life. So on Mars or on the moon, whatever. Something that clearly creates for you an experience that you will remember. And I think that the technology is there. And as I said at the beginning, there's no limit between imagination and reality right now. So it's for all the creative on the planet, the perfect ground to create the future. And with all these people that have so many ideas, I have no idea where we will be in 5 years, but it should be something incredible.
Wonderful. Rob, you've got about 1 minute if there's anything you'd like to add to that.
Well, absolutely. So I think in 5 years' time, we're going to be in a much different situation than we are right now. And I really honestly believe that we're not going to be looking at the screen no longer. I hope we're going to be as a part of the metaverse, trying to actually participate, as you mentioned before, some of you guys. And, you know, maybe I'm going to be in the green tracksuit suit walking around the metaverse myself with VR glasses and participating in the fashion show somewhere in the galaxy, because technology might just take me there and it's not going to be restricted to one certain area or something like it is nowadays. So I just think day after day, year after year, it's going to grow and it's going to take us places, guys. So I can't believe it. I can't wait for it to happen.
I'm really glad that your sound permitted us to ask you that last question, because that is an absolute great note to end the main discussion on. Thank you. As far as the questions go, I'm going to take one of the questions very quickly and then put the others to the panel for the last 5 minutes. So we've been asked, if the NFT is redeemable for the physical good or any transaction, how does the seller hold the physical good? How do we know the seller will not sell it to someone else physically? Well, this is actually what Boson Protocol is for. So it's a super easy opportunity for me to say, please go to our website, join our Discord. This is our use case, of course, and this is what we are doing in the Fashion District in our portal. So this question couldn't have been better for explaining exactly what Boson does. But the other questions we have are very interesting because they are sort of the same question wrapped into one, which Valérie, you have already given a text explanation of. So the actual question was to you directly, will you use Metaverse and NFTs for loyalty programs to bring your existing targets to the Metaverse? You gave a really thoughtful answer to this, but I would like to get everyone's thoughts who wants to contribute in the last 5 minutes, starting with Valérie, about what NFTs mean for loyalty programs. We actually have people have Nifty Key using Boson Protocol for loyalty programs, but I'd be interested to think about this NFTs with superpowers and loyalty programs idea and how it pertains to the fashion industry.
Yeah, in fact, the NFT and this super power that they have, finally, it's like a loyalty card for me that will allow the one that holds this card to access to different services, whatever the services is. So for sure, the question was, do we use this NFT as this loyalty card to take my present customer from the real world and make them enter the Metaverse? But I would also do the same at the opposite, finally, to enable people with an NFT in the Metaverse to come in stores and use the NFT to access to dedicated services. I think it's a tool that can go both directions, and the technology is there to give this super power and in very also confidential way. So you can really have something very high level in terms of loyalty program to your high VIP, because you can offer so many different services with a very confidential way. So it creates rarity and exclusivity. So it's a very good tool for loyalty, I think.
Perfect. And I should mention that was a question from Xavier Talent. And we have a related question from Niket Rata about what's the scope of customer service and after sales service in the Metaverse, which I think feeds very much into the same thing, because if someone has an NFT, you have this direct line to them for extra products and services. Does anyone, in our very last question of the round, unfortunately, does someone want to say something about this in about 1 minute? So that was customer service and after sales service as a function of NFTs. I can say something about it in that case. So this concept of NFTs with superpowers that Valérie was talking about allow you to do a lot more than loyalty programs. You can offer exclusive subscriber benefits or community benefits to people who buy particular garments and so on. I think it's a topic that we can't possibly explore in 1 minute. I'm sure we're going to be talking about those sorts of things at our NFTs with superpowers panel. But unfortunately, we're out of time now. So I just wanted to thank you all profoundly for being part of this amazing conversation. I've really, really enjoyed it and hope to see you all back at the next Boson Forum. It would be amazing to have your thoughts as these things progress. And to finish up with a reminder to everyone watching, Metaverse Fashion Week, of course, on right now, first day. Come to Fashion District, see what it's all about, and do come to our other events in Forum. Thank you all so much to the panel, and thank you all for listening.